On this week's episode of Memories Not Included, Michael Havens of the Imperial Commissary joins the show to talk all things IC convention. All right, welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of the new Memories Not Included. Now, again, this was great, and I was super excited about this because where the first season was strictly podcast, strictly audio, had amazing guests, really kind of launched what this was going to be about. Season 2 has the new element of video, which just brings us to a whole nother level and puts us face to face with the people that we're most interested in, that are doing the biggest things in nostalgia, in pop culture, in nerddom, and in our collector world. And that brings us to today's guest, because no time to waste, because the news keeps flying off the handle, rapid fire pace, with the con of cons coming from the ICCC. And so I had to make every attempt, every universal shift to get time with the man, Mr. Michael Havens. How are you doing?
Great, brother. I'll be honest, man. When you wrote me 10 minutes ago, I was like, oh my God, because I didn't realize we were doing Eastern. Even though you totally wrote it, it was totally on me. But yeah, man, I've been swamped ever since I tossed that release out there yesterday. It's crazy. Most of the questions, I hope a bunch of people will watch this. So most of the questions that I'm getting is how much of the autographs? It's like the first question I get. And listen, I want to release everything the second I know. Now, the reason why we wait till like 2 weeks before to release when the autograph prices are publicly. And the reason why is because these people are very, very famous. And if they have another convention or they have another private signing or this, that, and the other, we want to make sure that we're cheaper than all of those. So the only way to figure that out is to put your price at the end, because these people, the way it works with guest stars, I don't know how many people know this, but the way it works is there's a certain amount of money that they get, and then you kind of get to choose how much the autograph goes for. But the thing is you got to come up with that certain amount of money, so it's a very tight window. But we also want to make sure that we always pass on the most savings we can to the collector, because all that means is you go to the next booth and you buy a toy of C3PO also, and you go to the next booth and you buy an Emperor toy, and maybe you go to the con store and get a challenge coin. That I have challenge coins right here. I could show them to you. Look at that. But those are on my shelf. But these are the challenge coins over the years for the con, and that's what I mean. Anything like that puts more money in the collector's pocket, and the more money in the collector's pocket, the more fun they get to have, and the more fun all the vendors and other people. It works out for vendors. So it's been working really, really well because we do it in that format. And it doesn't give you the ticket price 8 months before, so you can plan. But if you want to plan, go look at whatever they're selling their ticket for on anything else where they autograph, and it'll be less than that.
So, of course, what we're talking about is your SuperCon of SuperCons, which is with the ICCC, and the huge announcement you made that Anthony Daniels is joining the list of incredible celebrities that are coming to this on. C3PO himself, which, I mean, that's mind-blowing news. I was telling you beforehand, my phone is blown up with people going, oh my God, did you hear, did you hear, did you hear? So let's backtrack just a little.
Yeah.
And you started this con with an idea, just like when you started the ICCC. And I want to jump back into what this means for these celebrities to be there. But let's start off by what did this whole venture, how did that start for you those years ago?
It's what is it? I don't know. It's probably a $3,000 plate of orange chicken now, because I've said it so much. But it starts off, I always go, you know what happened? I was at a big, expensive corporate convention, and I had a $750 badge around my neck, $750 badge around my wife's neck. Now, I've said this story a bunch of times, but this is so many years ago now. That's now like $1,000 badge. You know what I mean?
At least.
So, yeah, at least. So I'm sitting there, and there's a tepid water cooler in the corner, and I'm eating a plate of $37 orange chicken I wouldn't feed my worst enemy. and I'm drinking a Coke that's $9. And
Mm-hmm.
I put the Coke down, and my buddy Dave O'Brien was right there. He actually runs the Dungeons and Dragons room and the Magic, where we have tournaments and whatnot.
Yep.
But he was sitting right there. My wife was right next to me, and I think Jim was there too, Jim Magnum. But I don't know. Anyway, so I said that, and I was like, why not? So I started up a little tiny Facebook page, and I was like, you know what? We're going to throw a little IC convention. And it was going to be a meetup. A meetup where it was going to be, I was looking into like 1,000 square feet venue. So what happened is I found this place down in Franklin, Tennessee. It had a 1,200 square foot venue, and it had a 178,000 square foot venue. Well, I picked up the phone to phone a friend, and I phoned the wrong friend or the right friend. I don't know, but it was my buddy Mark Ivan. And I was like, hey, man, what do you think? You know, I can either get this. But the thing was, is the difference in price was like $2,000. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, you know, it was so expensive for the little room. So I was like, what do you think? And he's like, go big or go home. And I was like,
Absolutely.
oh. So I went big. And it was a little bit thin the first year because measurements are tough when you're working with 178,000 square feet. But we did have William Shatner and Renee Aberjonis and a whole bunch of Star Trek folks. Corey D. Williams was there. We had Stephen Constantino, a whole bunch of people. Flash Gordon was there, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really nice con, and it was wonderful. Everybody hung out together. Some of the rarest vintage figures in the world for anything, Star Wars, Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, whatever, were there because it's all these collector nerds. That's our base. So it really was awesome. We had good stage shows, and they were all set up really nice with great tech and everything. What I wanted to do is I wanted to jump into a 10-year or 12-year con on year one. So what I did is I threw buckets and buckets and buckets of money at it, and I lost like tons of money. So, but whatever, it was super duper fun, and it taught me so many lessons for the next year. So the next year comes along, and like, I mean, one of the biggest lessons I learned, actually, it's easy. I can show you here. This was the logo, the original first year logo, that one. Now, the thing is up here in the corner, it says the date. Now, I thought that was a great idea at the time. The problem is you reuse a lot of stuff every year. So you don't date everything. So I had literally $18,000 worth of banners I had to throw out between year one and two.
Oh.
But that's a lesson. I mean, they were like for like the welcome banner where you like can just take a picture if you feel like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They were like basic every year banners. And so that's a lesson you learn, but that's how you learn and you grow it. So it kept going on and kept going on, but I'm just trying to avoid unbelievably high expenses. And but I'm still trying to grow it. So it's a very, very balanced scale. It's very hard. I mean, guest stars are expensive, better venues are expensive. I mean, our first venue had a dirt floor. It was a rodeo. Now we're in a 4-star hotel where everybody can hang out. But yeah, you know, it's more money. But the thing is we always are trying to figure out cost-effective ways to save money. So what we even are going to be doing this year, which is something I haven't released. I'll release it right here. You get an exclusive.
Big news.
Yeah. But it actually is kind of big news, man. Usually you go to cons and it's like $45 to park. That's just the price if you can find it and you're parking 1,000,000 miles away. Our plan is our con, it does have parking fees because the hotel is really nice, man. They're not just going to let anybody park there. But the parking fees are cheap, especially if you stay in the hotel. I mean, I don't want to be quoted, so I don't know the exact price, but they are inexpensive comparatively to $45 a night. Like less than $20 a night. I mean, it's cheap. But people have written me and they said, you know what, man, you said you wanted free parking. I do want free parking, but it's hard. It's in Nashville. It's not like in Lebanon or Franklin or Columbia. It's in Nashville. So what I did is the parking. So that people were kind of complaining about parking fees. Plus, with these kind of guest stars, we're going to have so much more traffic that we need more parking anyway. So I'm thinking, and I'm like, how can I save parking? Well, there is a business center directly across the street. This business center is closed after Friday night. So it is empty Saturday and Sunday. I've talked with the hotel. I've talked with the place. I've talked with them. So we can park there for absolutely free. And I'll be running a shuttle bus back and forth. Boom, 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 boom. So I'll get you back your free parking even though we're in Nashville. I swear we're trying our best and we are making something that is completely different than anybody else. So instead of you spending that $1,000, $2,000 on a VIP ticket, you spend $500, you get an entire day to yourself. Friday, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., where all the movie stars are there, where all the tables are there, all the vendors are open, all the clubs are there. It's an entire full-scale sci-fi convention, but there's only 350 people allowed in the door. I think that's a little bit better than $1,000 badge and a tepid water cooler.
Yeah, I would say so. And guys, if you haven't looked, it is iccollectorsconvention.com. That's the website. You want to check that out. Bookmark it.
You can go icnashville.com is an easier one, man. That's for the locals.
There you go.
But it'll get you there.
So you go icnashville.com. You can also go to the ICCC Facebook page. There is information spewing from everybody, which is fantastic because you know that it's a big deal in this community when everybody's sharing it. Everybody's talking about it. It's like we're talking about the Book of Boba and we're talking about the ICCon. Like,
man, to be
that's rarefied air
thing, because that episode was something else, brother.
Oh, it was nuts. Keeps getting better. And, then you come right out. So you go from, and like I said, there's so many fun parallels because, that episode brought all of these people back. And then you look at what you've got going on. The Emperor's going to be there. You've got now C-3PO is going to be there. You've got the entire list of people, which again is on the website, icnashville.com. Yeah. But it is as magnanimous as those names are, and I'm sure they'll even get bigger because that's just how you do things. The camaraderie, the groups of people that go, the friendships that form from this, sales, trades, everything under the sun happens here. I mean, this really becomes the culmination of each collector's year.
Well, see, that's one thing that I've always wanted to do too, man, is I remember the first time I went to Celebration, there are certain exclusionary events that only certain people are allowed in and blah, blah, blah. And I don't like that. Yeah. That's why the Imperial Commissary started the Facebook group. I didn't like the way people picked on people on other pages or cussed people out. But our collectible thing, our community sometimes has a peppering in of quite a bit of drama. I try to avoid it. Sometimes I'm the cause of it, and I accept that. But that comes with being a loud personality, and without being a loud personality, you certainly don't throw a convention. But what I'm trying to say is the whole basis of everything I've ever done involving the Imperial Commissary, everything, has been to say that old way of the exclusionary nonsense has to go. Yep. Everyone can come play. If you ever had a problem, if you ever complained, and you can ask anybody, any reason for this, reason for that, whatever the reason is that you don't want to come because you feel there is some kind of animosity anywhere with anybody, it's not there. And the thing is, it's always water under the bridge, but you have to accept that we are moving into a new form of collecting. I mean, dude, I am literally talking to a human being from my phone on a video from how far away?
Yeah, several hours across states. It's crazy.
We have to change a little bit. And if we don't change a little bit, it'll die. And I love it too much. So that's what it's all about. And that's what I'm excited to do, man. When we bring in like the Kenner designers and stuff like that, I just want everybody to come together, and it's really been happening, man. It's really been happening. Shoot, C-3PO has been in, 9 movies, and the Emperor's been in, 7 movies, and they've never come together, but they are going to be coming together in Nashville, man. So, that's all I'm looking for, and it's really starting to happen. When you said that everybody's sharing it, that's, you know what I mean? I see some things where I'm like, oh, that guy told me off last week about something, XYZ Repro or whatever. And, but he's coming. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm so happy because it's killing that drama. Because without drama, we could be so cool. I mean, dude, how many times have you been wondering something? You're a collector. You've been wondering something, but you can't find the proper information because there's some old guy from 500 years ago that won't tell anybody anything because he's afraid somebody has a magic repro making machine.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Share the information and we're all on the same team. We collect vintage Star Wars.
I mean, it's crazy. I've done I do a lot of trades because I just love the stories. Like I love to get the stories from people. Each piece of the collection back here, there's a piece of story attached to them
Yep.
of where they came from. But I've made huge, long time friendships from doing this with people I've never been in the same room with.
Yep.
But through the technology, through different things, we communicate, we talk, we make trades. Like I was working on a trade earlier today for some original movie posters. So it's like there are things about this that form huge bonds across time zones and different even continents. You know, and as you look at this kind of a con, you see people coming from all over the world that all come with that's really that same true drive and passion. And the next thing you know, people are at the cons making even more friendships that will, for the next year going forward, that will help forge and form their own personal collections, their own personal drives about what this is. And now next thing you know, the next episode of whichever show comes out and your collective group of friends talking about it is even bigger because of something like this. I think that is the thing people don't realize that have never been to a con. You can go to lots of events across the country. I'm in the restaurant industry and several other industries, so I'm at those media events. And people all come for different reasons. They come from different walks of life. They're there for a different reason. Some of them are positive influences. Some of them are negative influences. There's a lot of friction. What people don't realize about a con, you will have people from every walk of life, from the highest level executive business person to the person who, like me, started in a dish pit at a restaurant somewhere. They'll be in the same room, and the moment they walk through that door wearing Mandalorian gear or a Star Wars shirt or, dressed like a Jedi, they are on equal level. I hold to it to this day. There is nothing like this universe of ours anywhere else, because the moment you walk through that door, you're all on the same level.
Yep.
I mean, it's mind-blowing how that works. And all of us become a 7-year-old again when we stand in front of Anthony Daniels.
Well, I always say it's like that part. I don't know if you ever seen Ratatouille.
Yep.
But
oh
you
yeah.
know that part where he eats the ratatouille at the end and he's like, boom. That's really what happens. It happens when you see a guest star. It happens when you see a stormtrooper walking around or a droid. I mean, man, Wally last year was like,
Yeah.
and it's like there's Wally rolling around. I mean, what? It was. I don't know, man. I am very, very lucky, very blessed, if you want to call it that. Whatever it is, I am. I don't even know. It's just kind of snowballed, and here I am. Like, I mean, Anthony Daniels. I've been a Star Wars nerd since I was a little kid, dude. This is nuts. I mean, dude, Timothy Zahn. I remember I got Timothy Zahn the first year. He's coming too, but he's awesome. Writes books and awesome. But I had Timothy Zahn the first year, and I remember when I met him, it was like, this is there you go. This is the guy that I read his books my whole childhood and all growing up, and I've read every single one of his books. You know what I mean? And I was like, he's coming to Tennessee to something that I'm throwing. No matter what way it is, it's a party. You know what I mean? And you're throwing a party. And the sheer fact that these people give me the time of day is incredible. And I don't know, man. I'm definitely not like the fanboy type or the autograph type. I'm definitely a vintage Star Wars collector. That's my forte.
Yep.
But I do know, in order to get the best toys from all around the world, whether it's Star Wars, Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, whatever it is you collect, the only way to do that is to put massively monstrous guest stars like this that also have a toy.
Yep. Makes a difference.
So that's what I'm doing.
Difference.
Yeah. And then what happens is all these people, if they stay at the host hotel, man, and please book through the room block link. If we book up all the rooms in the hotel, which I think will happen just looking at the specs, but if we book up all the rooms in the hotel, then I get to do a lot more stuff because we don't have a random 20 block of hotel rooms for like the pilots from XYZ flights that are like, dude, what are you doing? It's 11 o'clock at night. I got to be up for a 4 a.m. flight. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like, so if we could get that done, which I think it will be done, it's going to be even more less restrictive than it was last year. And last year it wasn't restrictive. I mean, everybody showed up in the lobby Friday night and there was like $1 million worth of toys on the floor and everybody was in there. It was bonkers.
I mean, that's the only place you're going to see that. You
Yeah.
don't see that kind of thing happen anywhere else but something like this with a bunch of people who, like I said, doesn't matter their walk of life, they're the same group of people when that happens.
Yep.
And I've noticed, and I've talked to a lot of my friends about it in the last, especially I'd say year. I think collecting grows every year. Things about collecting change every year. But I think in the last 12 months, we've really seen some fundamental shifts in the way collecting takes place. As we're getting closer to the next ICCon, what are some of the big fundamental shifts you've seen take place from your 1,000-foot view?
uh, uh, well, one thing is I never want it to be that way. I'm always very easily accessible. Anybody reach out to me anytime. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody or help any way I can.
Absolutely. 100%.
I'm not the smartest about stuff. What has happened is, well, I mean, obviously C3POs are like about to go up. I mean, every modern whatever C3PO you could get. I mean, because when's the last time he's signed? Many years.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden. So, but no, stuff that I've seen, it directly correlates to the new shows. Man, 88 is like pricey now.
Big time.
Which is like, because like 88 used to be like, man, I'll give you $8 for it. Like,
yeah.
And what else? What's happened is, here's what's happened. And this is what I always wanted to try to move forward is sometimes with this thing, it originally was, this is an exclusive club where we know everything about Star Wars and you can't know about this stuff.
Right.
Now it's, come here and do this. You join the IC. We have the IC for beginners, IC Star Wars 101 and everything like that. You can totally ramp up from zero safely. And that has brought so many new people, man. I see people all the time. And the funny thing is we'll look at stuff or vet profiles or stuff like that. And I'll click in the profile and it's like, he's like 20. And he's like, here's my carded 12-back Han Solo. And it's like, holy crap, bro, what are you doing at 20? But I don't know. Maybe it's crypto. Maybe it's whatever. But this younger generation is coming into Star Wars with things like The Mandalorian, Bad Batch, Rebels, whatever. And they're going, oh, I love the Clone Wars, so I got to get in Ahsoka and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And then they end up being like, well, my favorite is, let's pick Boba Fett, right? If your favorite is Boba Fett, because Boba Fett is hyped through the roof right now, what you're going to do is you're going to go, all right, what Boba Fett can I buy? And you're going to go look at 77-back Boba Fett's, which is the most vintage one that you can buy that's on a card and the least expensive. And what are those going for now? $4,000?
Easy.
I mean, it used to be a $700 card.
Yep.
The thing is Boba Fett is so popular. So it's crazy. It's that Twitterverse. It's the social media thing. What happens is these things start catching fire from something that either comes out on The Mandalorian or comes out on whatever, or the new Lego set, or you know what I mean? And it just compiles and compiles and compiles and compiles and compiles. Man, that Rancor HasLab did, if they would have waited 6 weeks, it would have sold out like boom.
Would have blown through, because as soon as that showed up on the Book of Boba,
that's it.
Everybody's like, oh my God, there it is. That's what I need.
But that's what keeps it live and vibrant. And the younger generation. Now, people that have been on the IC forever always, they always used to say like, why are you always like, dude, I still, to this day, somebody writes me and I'm like, well, the reason why you can tell that this blaster is real is because of this and because of this. And you can look here just because they're new and they see my name at the top of the board and just click it and message.
Yep.
And if you do that, you build the younger generation. I mean, this younger generation of Star Wars collectors, they're the ones that look at the Facebook posts and the whatnot posts and the this, that, and the other, all the different Instagrams, Twitters, Twitches, you know what I mean? And
they do.
They're the ones who are going to watch this. It's, very, very seldom do you get the 75-year-old guy, and you do. Yep. But very seldom do you get the 75-year-old guy that watches this. And that's the reality that we're in. These Star Wars toys came out 40 years ago, and some people started when they were 30, 40 years old. So if we don't continue to grow the hobby, which something like this convention does, which the Imperial Commissary does, which podcasts do, which exactly is what you do. That's why I always give away tables to guys like you and press badges and stuff like that. Anyone that grows the hobby. And that's because if we can grow this hobby and we can keep it growing, then it'll always be vibrant. We do
Absolutely.
not want to become Beanie Babies or tin toys, man. Look at tin toys. There were $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 tin toys, man. And
Mm-hmm.
what's happened to tin toys? You go into a convention that carries tin toys, and you'll see hundreds of thousands of them.
Oh yeah, all day long.
But
I
the
mean, and
problem is they
the
don't have
education,
anybody new.
right? And that's why the education is so critical,
Yeah.
because you do have, and we all seen it, we've all run into it. The people making repro and the people repainting and recarding and all these things are happening. And for somebody new who gets into it, that wants to start collecting and makes that first really big purchase only to find out it's a counterfeit or it's a fake or it's a reproduction, whatever, that is soul crushing at the start of trying to build and be a part of this community. So these kinds of things, that kind of open communication, you have other people that I've talked to, like I just recently really started getting into the one sheet movie posters. And man, that is a whole world of things to understand. But again, I went straight to the groups, talked to the different people in the groups, got the education, and that just helps people continue to build. That helps people that are doing this as a business. That helps people that are collectors looking for something, because now you have more eyes putting things in. I mean, I had a whole discussion the other day with a bunch of people about, you talk about the most rare figures. And we got into this heated thing about the vinyl cape Jawa versus the orange hair Luke. And it was so fun to be part of a discussion like that, because yes, you're going to have wildly varied responses, but at the same time, that was nothing but positive, fun, energetic conversation.
It's one of the only places in the world where two different people could have two different opinions and they don't end up flipping out at each other.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, you really can't. And guys, again, I don't want to miss out. icnashville.com, bookmark it, because you're going to want to keep going back to that page as things get closer. And also on Facebook, the Imperial Commissary and all of the different offshoots, like the 101s and even the current one, where you can go to the Imperial
IC2. It's www.facebook.com/groups/the Imperial Commissary 2.
And that's the one where you can look at more modern things. And modern things are hitting huge. Like after that one episode of Boba Fett, now everybody wants a Naboo, fighter.
Yep.
I just saw instantaneously dozens of them hit.
Oh yeah.
Available.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
I saw one, my buddy Tim, man, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, but if you haven't seen it yet, I don't know if it counts as a spoiler. It's like 8 days after or something. Anyway, I was talking to my buddy Tim, man. Tim's really awesome. He helps with the website. He's one of the leadership team at ICCon. But he's like, his thing that he wrote is, people will finally stop asking me who the blue cowboy is on my arm, because he has a tattoo on his arm.
Now that they took care of that for him.
Yeah. So finally, he's like, and that, I thought that was a really good post, because it's like, yeah, man, that was awesome too. It was really well done. I know it's going to even get better, and I'm super duper excited. And also, as you said, more guest stars are to come. More information is to come. It's going to be a really good time, and it's definitely about those awesome guest stars and the more awesome guest stars that are coming. Mm-hmm. But it's, at its soul, it's a collector's convention. Man, I always found one of my biggest problems is I go to every other convention and I see a Singapore Airlines booth or a Geico booth or a T-Mobile booth. And it's like, man, I'm not at this convention to buy a cell phone.
Yep. They'll spend the money on a booth so they get one.
Yes, but
it has nothing to do with it.
I don't let people like that in.
Which
so
is
what
awesome.
I do is I only sell booths to you got to fill out this thing to get a booth.
Yep.
And in a section of it, it asks you like, what's your URL? What do you do? What do you blah, 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 blah. And if it's something like, I buy bean juice and ginseng gum from China and throw it on a table for $1, I'm like, you can't come.
No.
But if it's like, I sell vintage Ninja Turtles, let's go, buddy. I'll put you right between the two Ninja Turtle authors. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff that that we try to avoid, but also the reason why something that is homegrown, that is very tight knit and community based, can maintain the original view that we had.
Yep.
And I mean, yes, sometimes it does get more expensive, but man, you can't tell me that any other convention on the planet would give you access to Mike Quinn. Whoa, I almost just gave you access to Mike Quinn and who else? Anthony Daniels and Ian McDiarmid and Stephen Constantino. And, well, we're done with that because I can't do that without a laptop in front of me or else it'll be a mess.
Yep.
Because there's still quite a few people left. But who would give you access to that on an entire day all alone with free food all weekend, lunches Saturday and Sunday completely catered and nice, snacks, pies, free soda for $500?
You don't get that anywhere. You can't get that just going for a weekend at a hotel somewhere. Forget a convention. Yeah. Forget all of that. You're not getting all of that just to go stay at a hotel somewhere for a weekend. Like, this is monumental proportions, and it's truly made for the collector. It's truly made for all of us.
I got a perfect example for the collector. We have the Matt Brookins exclusive figures. What he does is he chops up old Kenner figures that are just ruined, puts them together, re-kit bashes them, and then molds them, and then paints them, and then puts them on cards and custom cards and custom boxes and custom whatevers. Now, those things sold out in less than 2 seconds last year. Okay. So all I needed to do was increase production. That's what any other convention would do. Instead, what we did is instead of only having one in 2 different colors, like box and mint on card, now we have 4. We're making more. They're all exclusive. And we got Kim Simmons, who is a wonderful guy, who's the man who shot Skywalker, who literally took that picture on the Millennium Falcon box right behind you. And so he took all the Kenner pictures and most of the ones starting up to Power the Force 2 line even. But he is taking all the pictures and everything for our collector's boxes. So that's the other hook. You get the VIP and you get in line early each day of the con. There will be these for sale each day of the con because they're split up over 3 days. It won't just blow out in 30 seconds Friday morning anymore. But they will blow out in 30 seconds each day.
Yeah, it's going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah, they go quick. But the thing is just looking at last year's, literally right after they sold out, they were selling for more than double. I saw one sell that night at the room sales for $350, and we charge $150. Yep. So you can offset the cost of your VIP ticket by waking up early and standing in line.
And who's not going to do that at a con anyway?
Ticket with free food.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to do that anyways. They're going to jump right on. And guys, I'm telling you, it all sells out. All of this will be full. They're not going to have, will call and everything else because it's like this is going to be done. It's going to fill. So
people keep asking me, will you have tickets on site like you always do? And I say yes, unless they sell out. But man, no other convention comes here that's like this.
No.
So,
and Nashville, just to come there for just convention is something else. Nashville as a city is something to behold. I have walked those streets, the restaurants, the live music, the rooftops, it is a zone. Some friends of mine live out there. So, of course, that's a big another advantage for me. But if you've never been to Nashville, you are in for a treat by being inside Nashville and going to this con.
It is definitely not a sketchy town like some of the other places conventions are.
No.
It's like everybody's like, woo! It's like bachelorette party capital of the world.
Yeah, it really is. So don't get yourself in trouble. Or do.
Yeah, sure enough.
But, and I think what's great, and the other piece that a lot of people to miss is, man, when you see, and I feel like it's weak to call it cosplay. When you see the armors and the outfits and the movie quality designs of what will be there, there is no shortage of moments where you're just like staring as somebody walks by. It is mind blowing,
Well, we also have the cosplay contest. If you have people that watch that are cosplay people, and there are prizes and a trophy and this, that, and the other, it's really legit because we have people running that now. It used to just be me being like, I love your outfits. Let's see.
I love everybody.
And I'd ask people on like the IC. I remember first year I like put up a poll on the IC, I think.
Yep.
But it's way past that. So
I mean, you look at the guys like from the 501st.
yeah.
I'm working. Yeah, my whole thing is I'm actually working with the local head of the 501st making armor for me, and
nice.
totally not revealing what it is because I spent a long time picking which one this would be because, one of the things they all say is if you're going to do this, because it's a big investment, but if you're going to do it, make sure it's something that you just cling to, that you connect to, that you really dig into, because once you get it, there's nothing like it. And when you walk around on a con and everybody wants to take a picture with you, it is an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, since the first year, the cosplay has gotten, I mean, the first year it was really good, and we had some 501st and some Rebel Legion, but it just, man, it's like, I remember, because I always do the handshake in line when people come in, because I appreciate people, and, I want to say thank you because it's a lot of faith, man, no matter what way you cut it, even though we have a long history now, and we have a great track record, and we always tell the truth, all that, it's still some guy saying, don't worry about it, between May 29th or between April 1st and what am I doing? Gee whiz. I've done so many of these. April 29th and May 1st. Between April 29th and May 1st, come on down, Music City, Sheridan, 777 McGavick Pike, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to put the Emperor. I'm going to put C-3PO. I'm going to put a whole bunch of other people in a building, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be games. There's going to be video game contests. There's going to be cosplay contests. It's going to be droid building contests. There's going to be Dungeons & Dragons, Warhammer, Magic, all this kind of stuff. And I can say that, but until you show up, you got no idea if I'm blowing smoke. So that's why I always want to stand out there in that line and say thank you for coming, because it takes a lot of trust, and I appreciate that. So, but that's totally off point. My point was, dude, I was standing in that line shaking hands. It took me an hour and 45 minutes to get through the line last year. I only do it on the first day in the morning during general admission. And like every third or fourth person was something, man. We had this Cobra Jeep out front, and there were like 12 G.I. Joe cosplayers, and they had like that cool Cobra, like shiny mask thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And it looks so cool. And I'm like, I'm not a G.I. Joe collector, but that's got nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, people come from everything because of what it is.
Yep.
So I don't know, dude. It's grown so much. I mean, I remember the first year I did it, and it took me probably 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, it's a whole procession.
Was in cosplay. You know what I mean? There were cosplayers that came 501st and stuff, but they came later. Right. Like, usually the cosplayers that are in general admission lines don't have the club badge. They have general admission badge. So they're just regular cosplayers, which is awesome. And just that kind of love that comes out, it's just so cool, man. And just everybody hanging out together. Man, I'm so psyched because I don't know, I've put in a lot of work, man.
And it shows, that passion just exudes from it. Like, you could see pure joy on your face. The more you talk about it, the happier you get. And it's the same joy coming out of every collector that's talking about this right now.
I love it.
And, you're a crush collector. Like, you have an incredible collection, as you can see the pictures going by.
Thanks.
What in the last year has just been something really interesting you added to your collection?
Really interesting. You know what, dude?
Uh-oh.
I happen to have these here because I haven't found a place to display them yet. Now, you're not going to know what these are, but I'm going to show you. These and this are all screen used from a little show named Kenobi.
No freaking way.
And that is one of the wristbands to get in. And here's more of them. And here is, well, there's a lot of other stuff. But anyway, it's that's definitely the coolest, man. I mean, if I'm watching an episode of Kenobi, and Ewan McGregor picks up this cup and takes a sip of Bantha juice out of it, I'm gonna go to the bathroom in my pants.
That's gonna be insane.
Yeah. So
Yeah, what a
I don't
cool
know. I
thing.
would say that's definitely the coolest. I mean, this is a Imperial officer baton,
Mm-hmm.
but
That is amazing.
yeah, no, I've really gotten into screen use stuff like that. It gets pretty expensive, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, it's about as rare as you can get.
yeah,
There's only so much of that ever going to be.
right. Yeah. Yep. But that's I don't know, man. So that I would say is the coolest. Um, as far as like a toy, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I have most of it. See, here's the thing that most people don't know about me.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, I own a trucking company and containerized freight logistics team. I like a big trucking company. Move containerized freight like those little puff pastries you get in your grocer's freezer or transmissions for major car companies, stuff like that.
Right.
That's my real job. I also own art galleries. I do Star Wars for fun. So I am very, very lucky, and I understand that. But as far as vintage Star Wars items that I'm searching for, man, I don't really love prototypes because I think the problem with prototypes is there's even less information given and there's less sharing and there's less letting people into that club thing.
Right.
And what happens when all these new collectors don't remember Kenner,
Mm-hmm.
but they remember Star Wars?
Right.
Like what happens to the Klaatu hard torso pole or whatever? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, so I don't want to collect those. And when you get into this price range, you either collect those or you collect props. And I collect props now a
Yeah,
lot.
props would be my way too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know, man, but as far as toys, dude, I'm telling you, I'm like a crazy person. I will walk around venues and I will buy up Boba Fett's when I see them.
No, you buy
All
Boba
the time.
Fett's? What?
Yeah. But no, man, like I'll buy them like all the time. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a problem. I mean, like I should be on, I don't know, what's that thing where people like drink gasoline? I don't know. Like My Terrible Problem or something. It's Boba
I
Fett.
think it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, no, it's a great problem to have, man. I don't know. It's but I always love getting Boba Fett's. I'm trying to think of one vintage Star Wars, but there really isn't, man. I mean, you see my live sales and stuff.
Yep.
I do those to interact with the community and to get rid of some of the many warehouses of stuff I have. But I'm a perpetual buyer,
Yeah.
which isn't super duper great because you buy a lot of stuff and run out of room. But it's also the same reason why I could throw a convention. Man, I lay out so much money on the front end, like people are gonna come, you know. And you got to have that mentality, and that's why, yeah, I buy a lot of stuff, but it tends to. What I do is all these major collections or anything I buy, because see, I buy really large collections for cash, and
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like maybe one or two other people in the world that do, like where they buy like I mean really large,
Yeah,
collections
really
for
big
cash.
ones. Yeah.
And what happens is I'll take those in and I go through my things or all the rare things or all the tougher to find things or the things that I'm like, all right, I remember that Tebow Minon card that I got has a little litho hit down at the bottom.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'll be like, this one looks really good. So I'll take it to that one. I'll go side by side and I'll be like, all right, I'll keep the new one and I'll get rid of my old one. Because
Right.
I can't have 35 Tebows Minon cards, but I want a really nice one. You know what I mean? So
Yep. Totally.
it keeps upgrading and upgrading and upgrading, and it's kind of cool, man. And that way I get rid of stuff, which also brings in money to spend on the convention or spend on the,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a side thing. This is for fun.
Yeah.
So I got to still pay for my house and my cars and my trips and vacations and family stuff and a store and all these other things out of my other businesses. So this one eventually has to run itself. And I'm hoping that with C-3PO and the Emperor, it will,
I think that's you're starting to see that trajectory be right where that's supposed to be, and it's like we were talking a few weeks back. It's like there's now teams of people working on it. You're not trying to just kill yourself to put this thing together. You've got teams working on it, and that is that growth. That's where you want things to go, is that this village comes around it, this community builds around it, and it becomes something so much more. And
really, yeah.
I mean, when I saw the Anthony Daniels announcement, the first thing I thought of, like everybody else, was what would I get signed? and I have one of those, this old poster that hung in school somewhere, and it's the one with C-3PO and
The
R2 for
vaccine
vaccinations. Yes,
yeah.
I have that, and I'm like, that would be freaking hilarious.
Nice. Yeah.
Because it's odd and it's different and it's, and I remember when I got that thing, I was like, this is the wackiest poster I've picked up so far. And especially in the current time we're in.
Oh yeah.
And it's talking about getting vaccinated. So I was like, okay, this is kind of funny. But I mean, you build up a lot of people, if you're still sitting there thinking I have plenty of time, you don't. Think about the fact we were just at New Year's. We are already in February. February is a short month to begin with, and it's going to be March. And by the time you hit March, you're way behind the 8 ball and late on this. So, and that means from your tickets, travel plans, hotels. Again, check icnashville.com. Use the links there. But Airbnbs are already being booked because I was talking to some of the guys about them. Those things are already being booked. You are going to miss out if you don't get started now. And that's and that's the thing too. When you think about these kinds of things, they vary. Any one particular instance inside this con, even though there'll be a con next year and there's previous, and each year there's going to be a con. There are things that happen inside each individual one that are literally once in a lifetime kind of things.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's seeing something or picking up something or meeting someone, whatever it is.
Here, I got a good example.
Oh, right? Good. Perfect.
Yeah. Last year, there was, I can't remember his name, but it was a kid, and he was there with his girlfriend, and they were really cute. They weren't a kid. I mean, I'm freaking old. That's why I call him a kid. Probably like 20-something,
Yeah.
And so his dad comes to me, and he's like, I was wondering, man, he's going to propose to her this weekend. And do you think that we could do it somewhere cool? And I was like, yeah, of course, dude, whatever to help. And he was, all right, we figured out a place, and we were going to do it out back. Because out back, we put up the big movie screen, and we put on, we had Rogue One playing.
Yep.
And so we were going to do it at the beginning of Rogue One. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it there. But the thing was, it was a little bit chilly that night. It just was the way it caught it. But we're later in the month, so it should be good this time. But it was a little bit chilly that night, so it didn't have a ton of people. So we were like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to do it inside, and we got a good idea. So what happens is the 501st, Marcus, who's probably who you're talking to, but Marcus from down here from the Mid-South Garrison. Also, if you're 501st, Rebel Legion, Mando Mercs, Droid Builders, reach out to your prospective clubs. Mm-hmm. They already have tables. You just got to get in with them to get the coupon codes and the discount. Because I give discounts, man, for people that droid build, people that troop, stuff like that, because no other con does that. And I don't know why. They're guest stars in their own right. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And I don't know, there's even a place where you can change, where there's a bathroom, where you can lock your stuff. You know what I mean? It's I try to make it really nice because I appreciate those guys. But please reach out to the local garrisons here in Nashville, and they are the ones that have everything signed up. I know a bunch of other garrisons come from out of town, and you guys are still fine, especially if you talked with me. But this garrison from Nashville has the access to the coupon codes, the ticket codes, this, that, and then you could schedule times where you can properly troop. As long as you really troop, I have really good discounts for you.
Nice.
So that's one important thing. I don't remember where I was going with that, but I just
the wedding. You were talking about the wedding.
Oh yeah. So what happens? Hey, good thing you're here, brother. If you ever want a job here, man, if I could ever afford you, it would be nice. I could have somebody come around and be like, Mike, you were talking about the wedding. No, well, it's not a wedding yet, but the proposal. So what ends up happening is he talks to Marcus, who runs the Mid-South Garrison down here. And I talked to them, and we're all talking together. And Marcus is like, sure, we'll do something. So what we do is we have stormtroopers come with Daniel Logan. And Daniel Logan was Boba Fett.
A trip of a guy.
Yeah, right. And so Daniel has the ring in his pocket. And what happens is he's like, hey, stop them. And then the stormtroopers go over and arrest the dude. And the girl's like, what's going on? Why is this happening to us? Because we're just, walking around a con. And so he's playing along. He's got it like this, right? And he goes, what is this I just found? And Daniel gives it to him, And the dude turns around and he's like, "Will you marry me?" And it was just so nice, man. And they had pictures with all the 501st, and the movie stars loved it. And and that, I know that's not what you mean. Like, I mean, you might mean
It
the four
is,
rocket
yeah.
firing Boba Fett's in one building.
It's
But
it's different for every person. That's what's
yeah,
beautiful.
but I
Those
mean, if you're looking for, I mean, the whole reason why Vinyl Cape Jawas are all crazy right now, men on cards, is because what happened first day. Somebody walked up to a table, men on card, Vinyl Cape Jawas, like, here's your $18,000 cash. And then that story lit on fire, and now Vinyl Cape Jawa men on cards, what?
Oh, it's
18,
ridiculous.
17, 13.
Yep.
Before that, they were like 15.
Yep.
And it just happened to be some dude like put up his own private one as like a reach price. Like, this will just be here all day for people to be like, "Oh, wow, dude, you got that?" But it was like, here. And, and then that in turn fluctuates the price because everybody hears about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's funny because I've been wanting to get my hands on a loose Vinyl Cape Jawa just to put in the collection, just personal, just to have in there, because I keep things kind of concise. I keep my collection kind of tight to certain things. Yeah. And I have not been able to put my hands on one. In this search, in the meantime of the search, I managed to get a beautiful orange-haired Luke.
Nice.
A DT Luke.
Yep.
All the 12 backs that I picked up, and still have not been able to reach that. And you're seeing these Vinyl Cape Jawas go crazy right now. Now, don't get me wrong, Orange Hair Luke is nuts. He's in an own stratosphere by himself. But to find something like that VJC to add to a collection, it's the power of the hunt, man.
As we were talking about before, though, Orange Hair Luke is something a Kenner collector will know. Mm-hmm. It's not somebody that was watching XYZ and saw Luke and said, "Oh, I like that guy." You know what I mean? They're going to go. That's the thing, man. And where have we seen Jawas lately? Literally everywhere.
Yeah, they are everywhere.
So Jawas keep going up, 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 and that really reflects that. And that's why somebody's like, "I'm going to go to this con, and if they got one, I'm throwing the money at it." Yep. You know what I mean? And that's what ends up happening. And then you end up finding deals too, man. I remember there was one year and they found a prototype R2D2. I mean, pre-production prototype R2D2 in a bin. And it was for, I think they paid like $25 or something. And it was overpriced in that bin, but they bought it because it was in the beater bin, and it ended up being a scratch test or something like that. And it ended up being worth a couple grand. So it was really cool, man. I don't really remember the story. I think the Best Bin Prime guys, it was one of them, maybe Jason Knox or something, or not Jason Knox. I don't know who found it. But it was that kind of cool stuff happens too. And then you have the room sales, and then you have, and also a lot of things that happen is like, sometimes I'll get somebody who's like, "I need a vendor booth." And I'm like, "Well, just put your URL. Like I said, you fill out the thing and it's got all your stuff." So what happens is, I need a vendor booth, and they got like some dude's name and a phone number. And I'm like, well, so I reach out. "Hey, man, what did you, what do you do?" I screen the vendors and blah, 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 blah. And I give him the spiel. And he'll be like, "Well, my cousin just died, and I have an entire garage full of everything from the 70s and 80s on card, and I just figured I'd just go here and put it in a booth." Dude, you do that kind of stuff, like, ends up being like, here's some guy that literally thought he was going to get $8 on Etsy. That's like, boom, throws it all on the table, and it's like, boom, here's this 12 back, here's this 21 back. You're picking up, carded for $90 a piece all of a sudden. Like, it's, I don't know, man, that kind of stuff does happen, and I do get those phone calls, or I make those phone calls, because I'm like, I'm not just giving it to blah, blah, blah.
Right. Somebody's going to put a couple of junk pieces
out. But I'll
out.
Sure as heck give it to that guy, man.
Heck yeah. Well,
here's the garage full of stuff, bro. Good luck.
Yeah,
I'll be there first.
I'm going to come by and welcome you personally before everything opens. That's just how I do things.
Just look for me. I'm the big guy with all the logos on them.
Yeah, that would be me. Man, I got to tell you, I'm super excited for this to come along. Again, guys, it's icnashville.com. There's going to be more news coming out. It's just, you got this treadmill of exciting things that are happening. Anthony Daniels come in is just crazy. None of us have seen him out and about in a while. So keep following the Facebook and the website for more news. Michael, man, it is always a pleasure to talk to you.
I appreciate it, brother. I had a good time again as well.
It's
and the new video format is fine. I even had a shower and everything today.
I mean, look at that. Like
last time, I think I was half naked and didn't shower in a month. No, I'm just...
yeah, we saved that with just audio, so everybody's okay there. But yeah, love this. Love being able to see everybody back and forth and show things. And of course, throughout the video, you're seeing different pictures from the ICCon, from your collection. And, anything we can do here on this end, let us know, because all support for anything in this life is what we're about here with the whole Memories Not Included show. So, man,
I appreciate it, brother.
Again, can't wait to see you there. Absolute pleasure. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks a bunch, brother. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
You too. Take care.